If you can go back in time and tell your younger self anything, what would it be? Don't go on that date. Don't take that job. Do you think that advice would change anything? I don't think I would have listened. I was so weighed down by expectations. Expectations of other people, but more importantly, expectations of myself. I've had a lot of jobs, from medical sales, to Peace Corps volunteer, to Wall Street, to architecture, to now, abstract painter? Seriously? How does that even happen? Because there are no straight lines in life, and you have to discover your own path. It's taken me 38 years to realize that shedding expectations and embracing life's disruptions are the ways to find creativity in the chaos. I've always been creative. I love to paint and draw, but I would never have dreamed of calling myself an artist. When I applied to colleges, I applied to art schools as well. I was rejected by every single one. I thought, well, I know I'm not good enough to be an artist. So I put another layer of expectation on because I let other people tell me if I'm good enough or if I'm creative enough. So I did what you do when you don't think you're good enough. You try to be something else. I was so hungry to discover the world, but I had a hard time focusing. I have ADHD, but I learned how to make that work for me. How? I learned how to fail. I failed at so many things. I failed at school. I failed at sports. I failed at my jobs. But you can't let failure ever bring you down. In the Peace Corps, I learned about resilience. I learned how to step away from the expectation that life is supposed to tell you what to do. The Peace Corps sounded like a great idea. Take a couple of years to give back, travel. I pictured myself on this island in the Pacific, teaching English, beautiful sunsets, great beaches, palm trees, right? Bring it on. Instead, I was signed to the North African desert, Tunisia. Really? This was a different language, a different culture, a different religion. This was the Sahara Desert. What? Well, I really loved interacting with this new culture. I learned how to speak Arabic, and I found ways to give back. Now I understand that disruptions can open us up if we allow it. I connected with the Tunisians through creativity, painting, murals, photography, art, and language. I felt a sense of freedom here. There were no expectations. I actually started to grow my hair out for 2 years. Started to look like Fabio, right? I know, little ridiculous, I get it. It's crazy looking back at this photo. But as you can see, I was comfortable being uncomfortable. When I started putting myself in situations that forced me to be vulnerable, I felt inspired. I found hope. I was beginning to find the creativity in the chaos. Creativity is about opening yourself up to the world. But you can't do that if you're weighed down by expectations. If you allow the disruptions and chaos of life to keep weighing you down, it closes you off from the world. Disruptions are big and small. Sometimes we don't even notice them until years later. But disruptions in times of chaos can change us. They can wake us up. 9/11 woke me up. It was a Tuesday, and my wife, my fiance then, Amy, worked in Tower 2 of the World Trade Center. We were getting married in 6 weeks in New York City. She returned late from a business trip on Monday night and slept in that morning. The second plane went directly into her conference room on the 78th floor. She wasn't there. She survived. But the stress and sadness weighed heavily on us. Life had never felt so fragile. The only way to describe this time in our lives was chaos. 9/11 accelerated something that's been building in me for years, the need to be creative. Disruptions that lead to creativity don't always make sense. They often cause us to retreat into ourselves, looking for stability in the midst of chaos. But creativity uses disruptions to shed the layers of expectations to find the creativity in the chaos. So, creativity became my call to action, to bring beauty to the world and to my own life. But I couldn't. I was still weighed down by layers of fear, and 9/11 added about 100 more. I wasn't ready to open myself up to the world. Maybe this would go back and tell my younger self, forget about the expectations of others, follow your own path, knowing there is no one answer, and to think beyond yourself. Fast forward, Boulder, Colorado, 2008. I'm working for an architectural firm, but you all know what's about to hit the fan. The economy tanked, and I lost my job. I'm scared, frozen in time. I didn't know who I was or what I should be doing. This was the darkest time of my life. Expectations weighed me down so much, I felt paralyzed. I couldn't move. So I escaped down to my basement, and I started to paint. Painting was my light. It brought me hope when everything else seemed uncertain. We all have the light in us. Every one of us is on a journey, and where you go is up to you. The light only shines as bright as you let it. So embrace the chaos and make it part of the solution. This is different for all of us. We have to let the spark of creativity transform who you are and what you do. What would the world look like if we all did the things that we were meant to do? If we all stayed curious? I was in a tough spot here. My family was struggling with my choices. The worst decision I could make at this time was to be a full-time artist. That's what everybody kept telling me. Why do you want to be a painter in the worst economy we have ever experienced? Are you insane, Will? No, I'm not. So I entered a juried art show in Boulder, Colorado, and won a blue ribbon. Huh? I sold my first 3 paintings. For the first time in my life, I told myself, I am an artist. I'm an artist. Creativity flowed out of me like lava from an active volcano. I painted one, then another, then another. I couldn't stop painting. Those layers of expectations that we're building for the last 38 years were finally gone. It was a leap of faith. I didn't have any answers. You have to take leaps of faith in life and don't limit yourself. This is different for all of us. We all have different experiences, we have different challenges, we have different expectations and different addictions. But we all have a human spirit, and we can't soar when expectations weigh us down. When we let go of expectations, we release our spirit to the world and can start living. Only when I let go, I could finally free myself from the expectations of others and find my creativity. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to cope with the uncertainties of life. But uncertainty is a disruption I am now open to. Are you open to disruptions? Then how do you get there? You take all your experiences in life, good and bad, and you realize you're just as unique and special as everyone else. You are awesome. You have to believe that. Once I started to believe this, I could paint. I could channel this belief into my art without trying to please people. When I got to this point, I painted this. The Dawning. The Dawning. This painting is about endless possibilities of life when we begin to trust. This changed everything for me. So go find your voice, share it with the world, and make your mark. Creativity in the chaos is not just about finding, it's about doing. It's about always being open to allow that creative spark to ignite, no matter what the disruptions. We are all artists. Without art, we lose the emotional connection to the human spirit. That causes chaos. We miss the meaning of life, our passions, what comes from our hearts, things that make us human. Finding creativity in the chaos is a call to action, to listen to yourself and the world around you, to let go of what you think others want from you and allow freedom to flow through your spirit, to embrace the disruptions, to learn from them. None of us are on a straight path in life, but if we were open, we will always find creativity in the chaos. A life of creativity is a life of unexpected disruptions and surprises. How do you want to paint your canvas?